Hello everybody and welcome back. In this episode of Unraveling Autism, I'm going to take you through some of the meals that we eat on a daily basis. This is a follow-up to a previous video that I've done where I covered the subject of nutrition and what I considered to be a healthy diet for a child with autism. This is a more practical video because it gives you some examples of how general eating principles can translate into actual meals. So in a previous video, I looked at what I consider to be a healthy diet for a child with autism, and important components that I mentioned as part of a healthy diet were fruits and vegetables, proteins from both plant and animal sources, whole grains, dairy, healthy fats, and water. And these components are, of course, what we would consider for any neurotypical person. And similarly, I argued that they also apply to children with autism. However, I did look briefly at issues surrounding allergies as well as gluten or lactose intolerance and leaky gut. And I did stress that a child who is diagnosed with these or any other food-triggered conditions would need to eliminate these sources or causes from his or her diet. So generally, both my daughter and I eat the same foods, as this makes meal prep simpler, and it also helps us both to stay disciplined and on track. But the reality is that when it comes to food, we are not always disciplined. We don't always eat what we should, and for me, I feel this is just part of being human. Food should not become a source of guilt or shame, and there are many positive emotions attached to food, which we should not make excuses for. Factors that do lead us to eat differently at times are, for instance, if we have a busy day or are pressed for time and we choose what is convenient rather than healthy, or we eat out at new places, in which case we might select different foods just to be able to enjoy a new eating experience. In South Africa, we also are faced with the daily reality of power cuts, and this does sometimes impact on the food choices that we make. But for the most part, I would say that, and on most days, we do eat what is healthy and what is nutritious. And living this way has been a process of progress and practice, and it has taken us at least 5 or 6 years to get to this point. So here are some examples of meals that we prepare during the week. A chicken mayo filling on an open sandwich made with sourdough bread, and a side salad with lettuce, cucumber, tomato, olives, and sometimes feta cheese. We do buy salad dressing, and we like a honey mustard dressing on most days. Alternatively, if we have no dressing, we will make a dressing from lemon juice, olive oil, salt, and pepper. Then lamb curry with basmati rice and a salad. The curry is made from a tomato, onion, and spice gravy, to which we would usually add potatoes, meat, then beans and peas. Spaghetti and mince. This is also a tomato and onion based dish, but it is our version of bolognese because we tend to use less tomato than the traditional bolognese. We are of Indian descent, and so most of our meals have a curry base, which is made of onions, tomatoes, ginger, garlic, spices, both whole and ground spices, and chilies. Over time, I've reduced the use of sunflower oil, and so we now use olive oil to cook almost all of our food. Here's an example also of a lunch meal: fish cakes, pumpkin, raspberries. The pumpkin is braised with onion, chilies, cumin seeds, and whole cinnamon. The fish cakes we do buy, but they are of a very good quality. Then we also often include berries as a side because they are tart, not really sweet, and so we find they do go well with most meals. We drink tap water. The water in most taps in South Africa is drinkable. and so we drink tap water, or sometimes we may also drink flavored sparkling water. And the sparkling water that we drink has no preservatives, has no added sugar to it. We avoid soft drinks and juices. Then full cream yogurt with fruit, nuts, and a drizzle of honey. This is one of our staple breakfasts. We don't eat cereal anymore, but occasionally I do make oatmeal porridge, and we will have it with milk and dates or honey. Fried or scrambled eggs with beans and fruit. This is also another one of our staple breakfasts. On weekends, we might eat out for breakfast, in which case we would have eggs, bacon, and cappuccinos. Then sushi. Sushi is one of our favorites, and we usually get it as a takeaway, but we do also make sushi at home. So the sushi that you can see here in the picture is one that we've made at home using nori, sushi rice, smoked salmon, avocado, and sesame seeds. And we do use soya sauce. Then we also eat oven roasted chicken, usually with a salad or any other vegetable that's been cooked. Then green beans and potatoes. And green beans and potatoes is one of my favorites. It's a very simple dish. It's made by braising green beans and potatoes with onions and some spices, and it is a very satisfying meal. Then soup. So my husband and my son don't have soup, so I will usually not spend time making soup. I will rather spend my time making a meal for my husband and son, and then I will buy packet soup or canned soup, and I will have this, and some days Akila will have it as well. Then fried rice and sausages. I usually buy fried rice which is pre-packaged, and it usually contains corn and peas, and the only thing that I will add to it when cooking it is maybe egg. Then pap and wors. Pap and wors is a South African favorite. It's one of our traditional South African foods. Pap is basically corn or maize meal, which is cooked to make a soft porridge or a stiff porridge, depending on what you like. And wors is basically an earthy, hearty kind of sausage that is widely eaten in South Africa, and it's usually paired with pap. Then lentil or bean soup. We usually make this meal at lunchtime, and we might just have the soup by itself with a salad, or we might have bread, or we might have roti. So lentils are very easy to prepare. They are very economical and healthy. And the roti that we might sometimes eat is a flat bread, which is of Indian origin. Samp and beans. Samp is a whole version of corn, and it's cooked together with beans, and it's usually stewed with any kind of meat, but it can be eaten by itself as a vegetarian dish. It's very tasty and very hearty. Then another curry, in this case chicken curry, also with potatoes and peas, and the one I've shown you in the picture here is paired with brown rice and a beet salad, and there is also spinach here, and the spinach that we make is also braised with onions, tomatoes, chilies and garlic, and it tends to go quite well with most curries and also with rice. The beet salad that you see here comes from a jar, so there's no work involved in having it. You can just buy it. Then biryani. Biryani is also a dish of Indian origin. It's basically a rice dish to which we add whole and ground spices, yogurt, lentils, lamb, and chicken. It's quite a time-consuming dish to prepare, so it's usually only made when we have guests or we make it on special occasions. So just in regard to the meals, I do often use canned beans or canned lentils because I find that the quality of canned beans or lentils in South Africa is very good, and it's also very tasty, and it makes it quite easy and convenient to prepare meals. However, when it comes to fruit and vegetables, I prefer to use all fresh fruit, all fresh vegetables, as I don't like the taste of frozen vegetables, and I also don't like the taste of canned vegetables. My meals are a mix of foods of Indian heritage as well as many of our traditional South African foods. So over the years, we've stopped buying most of the pre-packaged snacks that are available in shops, as they tend to be highly processed and generally contain a lot of sugar. So in our house, you will usually not find snacks such as biscuits and chips and all sorts of crackers made with white flour. I may sometimes buy this for my son, but myself and also Akila, we would not have any of it. Yeah, some of the snacks that we do have and we eat regularly, cream cheese or sometimes Gouda cheese. Akila will have Gouda cheese, but I don't eat Gouda cheese as a snack, even though I might have it in a sandwich. So kiri is something that we always have at home. Then biltong, and biltong is also another South African snack. It's basically meat that has been cured and dried and flavored with salt, pepper, and other spices. Dark chocolate, our favorite dark chocolate, in fact the only dark chocolate that we eat, is Lindt Extra Dark and Smooth, and the one you see here in the picture are truffle balls, very tasty, very smooth, and very satisfying, and you could have one after a meal and that is more than enough to satisfy your sweet tooth. Fruit, we eat all kinds of fruits, but our favorite fruits are oranges, apples, bananas, grapes, pineapple, mango, and watermelon. Then we do have tea, coffee, and all kinds of herbal teas, but we don't have juice or cool drink with sugar in it. We do have Diet Coke on weekends. Then we eat nuts of all kinds, including peanuts, and one of our snacks that we like a lot is a peanut and raisin mix, which is also quite popular in South Africa. And then just in regard to peanuts, I am aware that peanuts are not nuts, they are legumes, but both legumes and nuts are part of our diet, and we do eat them regularly. We enjoy eating out, and we usually do this on weekends. And three of our favorite meals when eating out are khabri, which is a selection of roast meats and vegetables, peri peri chicken, which is basically a hot spiced chicken, spiced with chilies and garlic, and this comes with any side such as rice or chips or salad. We also like seafood such as grilled fish, prawns, calamari, and mussels, which comes with any side. When my daughter was little, we used to eat a lot of McDonald's and KFC, and to this day she still loves a quarter pounder with cheese, French fries, and a Diet Coke. But nowadays McDonald's is something we will only have maybe 3 or 4 times a year. For takeout, we will usually order sushi and Nando's, which is also a peri peri chicken, and occasionally we do eat KFC. And when my daughter eats out, she will usually order a side of salad or vegetables, and so we really do not eat chips. Then on birthdays and other special days, such as Christmas, we will eat any kinds of desserts, cakes, chocolates, whatever we feel like having for the day, because those days are considered to be exceptions. And so what I've shown you is not everything that we eat, but it is a fair reflection of our eating habits. Nothing has really been cut out of our diet. We still have everything that we used to have in the past, only in lesser quantities than before. We love food. Akila loves food. We love eating, and we really do not feel deprived in any way. Eating is not an exact science, I feel, because food is strongly tied to pleasure, to family, to our histories, even to feelings and preferences. But at the end of the day, what you put into a meal or what you choose to buy is it's a conscious choice. As with all things, eating comes down to a series of individual decisions that needs to be made throughout the day. And how we fare depends on various factors prevailing at the time, including our upbringing, our environment, our emotional state, and importantly, our goals for the future when it comes to nutrition. But even with eating, habit is everything, and our taste buds, if trained by habits, do adjust over time, and we learn to desire the foods that we eat on a regular basis. Thank you for listening, and I hope that this video has given you some ideas about how nutrition works in practice, and how, if at all, you would like to adjust the way you prepare meals or what you buy on a regular basis.